Flow control, it's a variable that can help you take espresso to the next level. Once reserved to rather expensive commercial machines from companies like La Marzocco, Slayer, and others, it's now available on prosumer-level semi-automatic espresso machines. Hey, espresso lovers, Mark here from Whole Latte Love. Today I've got a look at the new flow control device available pre-installed on the Profitec Pro 500, the Pro 600, and Pro 700. Coming up, I'll show you one way to use the flow control when I use it to reduce the brightness of a very fresh coffee just 3 days off the roast. Then we'll take a look at a cutaway E61 group to answer the question, does flow control affect heating of the group? In that, you'll also get a basic understanding of how the thermo-siphon system works. It's pretty cool stuff. And I'll finish up with how to calibrate the flow control device and why you'll get different pressure readings during an extraction from the machine's stock pressure gauge and the group-mounted gauge that's part of the flow control package. Before we get to that, a little background on how the flow control option came to be and these Profitec machines. Now, you can read the full story on development of the flow control device in an article in Roast Magazine's Daily Coffee News by Howard Bryman. There's a link down in the video description for the article. The quick version of that, we worked with Michael Houck of Profitec to refine the device. As part of that process, we made visits to their production facility in Milan, Italy, like this one last year. We worked directly with manufacturers on product innovations. It's the same process that resulted in best-in-class steaming power on Profitec machines like the Pro 600 here and Pro 700. We asked Michael, and he delivered. And about these machines, really some of the finest engineered machines available were their German design that's hand-assembled in Italy. The Pro 500 PID is a vibration pump heat exchange machine. The Pro 600 here is a reservoir-fed compact dual boiler PID machine with vibration pump, running that extra steam power up to 2 bar in the boiler. The Pro 700 is a plumbable rotary pump dual boiler PID with best-in-class steaming power as well. All these machines feature extra like stainless steel mushrooms, large low-wear sprung valves for steam and hot water, and excellent craftsmanship of external casework. So now, let's see flow control in action with that very fresh coffee, take a look at that E61 thermosiphon, and show you how to calibrate the flow control. Let's take a look at how the brew pressure gauge, the internal brew pressure gauge of the machine, and the gauge mounted on the group are going to differ when you're doing an extraction. At the same time, talk about how you can deal with a really freshly roasted coffee. I've got some here that's just 3 days off the roast. When I brew this normally, it's really, really bright, too bright. But with the flow control, I'm going to be able to tone that down. So what I'm going to do, I get my portafilter loaded here. I'm going to make sure my flow control is fully closed. I'll lift the lever, and the machine is going to very quickly reach full brew pressure internally. That's perfectly normal, and no indication on the pressure gauge up here on the group. So we got no water hitting the coffee at this point. What I'm going to do, I want to pre-infuse this for quite a while. So I'm just going to let it come up to, about 2 bar here by opening the flow control just a little bit. The water's now getting into the coffee and pre-infusing. I'm going to watch that. When it gets up to 2, I'm just going to dial that back a little bit. That's going to allow the CO2 that's really locked up in that very fresh coffee to off-gas before we really do a full brewing. Now I'm going to take this up to about 6 bar of pressure on the gauge. And again, this gauge is going to always stay the same. And I like it at 6. I'm going to let that extraction continue. And now at the end, I'm going to ramp down a little bit. You can see I can really control that flow. Now I'm going to ramp that back down. I'm going to finish it, just right around 3. And we'll stop the shot there. And I'm going to take a taste. Now I know what this tastes like when I brewed it, just normally without flow control. And it was really bright because it's a very fresh coffee. Let me give that a little taste. Oh yeah, that really toned down that brightness a lot. A much more satisfying shot now. But again, you will always see with a flow control installed a different pressure here. You're going to see full brew pressure on the machine's gauge because there's a restriction up here. And you'll get what's actually hitting the coffee on the gauge mounted on the group. Question I've seen in some forums concerning the flow control device is, does it affect the thermosiphon of an E61 group. And I've got a cutaway. This happens to be a heat exchange boiler machine with a cutaway group here. And here's the standard stock mushroom valve and the flow control valve. As you can see, there's, all the business of the flow control happens internally in here. So in the thermosiphon system, what happens is convection drives hot water constantly through the group, and that's what gets this hot. These pipes here, they exit behind the mushroom valve, so all that flow happens externally to the business of the flow control valve. So the answer is the flow control valve has no effect on the thermosiphon and heating of the group. So let's take a look at the device and checking your calibration. To fully close flow, this is the flow control device right here. You also get the group pressure gauge. So to check the calibration, turn it all the way clockwise. So all the way clockwise, turn the pump on, and you should get no flow when you're fully clockwise. And then as you open it up by turning counterclockwise, you get flow, and it's about one full turn. So if you're fully clockwise and you're getting some flow, you're a little bit out of calibration. I'll show you how to take care of that. To do that, you're going to loosen this. So this knob turns out a little bit, and then you're just going to turn this. What you need to have is a little space in between the sleeve here and the top of the mushroom valve nut. If you don't have that space, you may not be able to fully close the valve. So what I want to do is just turn it out a little bit, lift this sleeve up very gently with a screwdriver here. I'm going to go fully closed. I can't move it anymore, maintaining that space. Then I'm going to use something. I've got a little wad of tape here. I'm going to sit in here, just make sure I keep that space, because you see how that dropped down a little bit. You give it just a little tap. Don't do too much. Then really crank that guy down, and then you'll maintain the space in here. So if you're getting flow, usually the problem is the sleeve is contacting the top of the mushroom nut, not allowing you to fully close. And again, the check for that is turn the pump on, and with it fully clockwise, excuse me, you should be getting no flow. You can see we're at full brew pressure on the machine right here, nothing up here. Now, to show you how that pressure builds up, I've got a back flush disc. This comes with the machine. We'll put that in there. Turn it on. Again, we're fully closed right now, so no pressure indication here on the group gauge, full pressure on the machine gauge. As we turn this up, you can start to see that pressure build. It's got to fill up that back flush disc a little bit, and I can stop it, and I'll stay right there. And since I'm not having any water coming through coffee, it's just going to continue to build. But you can see just how slow. I've just got it open just a little bit, and it's just building up very slowly. And again, I can pretty much stop that wherever I want. And it'll go right up to the full 9-bar brew pressure there, and we'll stop that. So if you're fully closed, that's completely clockwise, and you're still getting flow from the group, it's usually because this sleeve's a little too low, and that's how you adjust that. So there you go. Again, the flow control device, it's available pre-installed on Profitec Pro 500, Pro 600, and the Pro 700. And because we work directly with Profitec, flow control on these machines is currently a Whole Latte Love exclusive. If you have any questions on flow control or anything coffee, use those comments and I'll get you some answers. I'm Mark. Thanks for watching. If you like this stuff, do take a second and subscribe so you'll know about the latest on everything coffee, brought to you by Whole Latte Love. Want to learn more? Subscribe now so you'll know about the latest videos on everything coffee from Whole Latte Love.